This is Swiss and Chips, your British guide to Switzerland.
Hello and welcome to Swiss and Chips. My name is Simon.
And I'm Jo.
And today we're going to talk about to lüft or not to lüft.
Yes.
A heroic question. Do you want to explain straight away what lüfting is, or shall we lüft the secret later?
I think you need to explain, but you should explain. You're the expert.
Let's talk about it later.
Oh.
This is going to be the main topic. I need to warm up first until I talk about such complicated topics.
Mm-hmm.
As if you're for the first time here, then you don't know what we're going to do here. Basically, every few weeks we talk about the highs and lows of moving and living in Switzerland, the misunderstandings between the Swiss and the Brits, and the dark sides of living in Switzerland.
Boom.
Yes. If you haven't yet, don't forget to head over to our website, which is called swissandchips.com. You can subscribe there for free for the newsletter and get some additional content. You can also leave comments and stuff. So be part of the community.
Yes,
and
indeed.
Each time we also do a vote, and turns out for that, you have to leave your email. So we can't change that, unfortunately.
It's not so bad, though.
It's not so bad. You get some additional stuff sometimes here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Today we talk about first some listener feedback, most exciting part for me. Then the topic of the day, to lüft or not to lüft. Mm-hmm. Then a Swiss bite and learning Swiss German with Swiss and Chips and the listener poll.
Mm-hmm. It's action-packed.
So let's start with our listener poll from our last episode.
Yes, indeed. We asked you, how long have you been living in Switzerland for? Interestingly enough, most people, more than 50%, said they've been here more than 5 years.
So they know better than us probably what's happening here.
We need to do another poll and say more than 10 years, more than 15, more than 20, and then we'll find the real hardcore Swissies.
How many did say that they are not in Switzerland yet?
Well, this was also pretty interesting. It was just over a quarter of people who said they're not in Switzerland, but they plan to move. That's very exciting. Maybe you've got some special questions that you want to send to us, and we'll see if we can answer them for you. And then we had 16% of people who have been here less than 5 years, and very tiny 5% of people said they're not in Switzerland and they don't plan to move here either.
They just enjoy our voices.
Yep, maybe we can change your mind.
True.
Come.
Cool.
So in a previous episode, we were talking about crossing borders, and we received a lovely message about it from Hedy.
Yes, and Hedy, she said, starting in Basel, I ran a race that took me through 3 countries.
That's
Switzerland,
cool.
France, and Germany.
Awesome.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely amazing. And thanks a lot for leaving the comment. That was very cool. And we got some more feedback. Another comment was from Ali, our favorite new listener.
Yeah, it's not a competition, but you're up there.
We talked about him last time.
Also, he's not a new listener. He is a long-time committed listener.
Yes, we talked about him last time. We talked about his Reddit group and his website.
Yeah,
and
exactly. Mm-hmm.
He wrote to us, and also he wrote another email, so we didn't reply yet. So in case you're listening, it's our inbox.
In the post. It's in the post.
Unfortunately, we're not very good with replying, but we try as hard as we can. He left an interesting comment, and he said, because last time we asked, I wonder if he has been to Faye or Fahy or...
The village of Faye.
Yes.
We talked about it in our last episode, didn't we? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because on his website, on the map, it looked as if he could have been. And he said, no, he was close by. But one place you missed is just next to the Tête de Moine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called the village of Moron.
The village of Moron.
Yes.
Do you know why that's funny?
Yeah, because a moron is a moron.
Okay, right, good. It's just the way you said it. I wasn't sure if you knew. All right, good.
And yeah, he said it's definitely worth visiting. And the village itself is marked with the wonderfully unfortunate moron village on hiking network signs.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah, I
Just
agree.
carrying on despite the name.
And also last time we talked about smoking, and there he left an interesting comment as well. He said, one factor could be the number of smokers is very different. Hardly anyone seems to smoke in the UK in comparison to Switzerland. Though about a third of the UK economy seems to be based around vape shops.
Yeah, vaping has definitely increased in popularity tremendously, but also in Switzerland, must be said.
Yeah, it's true. I just thought it's funny.
Yes.
I mean, funny, not funny. Don't smoke.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
Stay healthy, kids.
When I was a child, I had a keychain.
Oh, this is what we need to talk about.
No.
Those fake cigarettes.
No, not the fake cigarette. We talked about that before. No, not the fake cigarette. I had a keychain thingy.
A key ring?
Yes. Which my parents bought. And it was a package of cigarettes, which one cigarette looked out, and you could press it.
Shut up.
And then it made no smoking in English. And it was really funny because my parents used to smoke, and always when they smoked, they could press it, and it said no smoking.
Your parents have got a funny sense of humor, I must say.
Anyway, so that was funny.
Good.
Another thing we saw is there we got some ranking charts of our podcast, which I thought was interesting because it showed that in places and travel in Ukraine, we are on the second place. I thought, shout out to the Ukraine people listening to us.
Yeah, hello.
It's that was extremely exciting to hear. And also,
I wonder if that's people who have come from Ukraine who are still using, their Apple podcast store in Ukraine, but now they live in Switzerland. So then it would make sense that they're listening to this podcast. True. So hello to you. If you're one of those, let us know, what you're doing.
Yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah, it's true. And the same is for Colombia. We are ranked on 10. So we made it to the top 10.
Awesome. If you're listening from Colombia, then send us a message. I want to know what you're doing.
As well as Malaysia in places and travel.
Cool.
So
mega cool.
I thought it's extremely cool and extremely interesting. And if you are that person, write to us.
Yes, do.
Right. Now, let's move on. Topic of the day, to lüft or not to lüft.
Okay.
Lüften is a verb and it says fresh air in a building. No, it means like open all the windows and have an airstream going through your house.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's not just like sort of cracking open a window. It's like windows must be fully open so air is circulating in a sort of turbulent manner throughout the entire place of residence.
Yes, and I thought it's interesting because that is a thing.
Yes.
It's an absolute thing. There's also an article on the
Federal Office of Health?
Yes, and which explains exactly how to do it, when to do it, how often to do it, and why to do it. We will link this in the show notes.
Great.
It says basically, the title of the article is Korrektes Lüften, so...
Correct airing.
Yes.
I suppose you can call it. It's a funny thing because lüften, I quite like that word, so we just call it lüften in our house, also when we're talking English. It's also a thing in Germany. Because I've seen videos about it in Germany as well, because people comment on it. And you know what is funny? Because I was thinking about this when we're getting ready for this today. Because we were saying, it's not really like such a topic, in the UK, as far as I know. And one reason why I thought might be because of the difference in windows and so on. Like I think Swiss, homes are, their windows and their, balcony doors, whatever, they're really built for this. But in the UK, it's quite often that you have windows and some of the windows don't open. Like there might be 3 panels of glass and maybe 1 or 2 of them open to the side, but the big one in the middle doesn't open. Or there might be small panels of windows at the top and they, tip open, but they don't open the whole window like it does in Switzerland. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, but you dove straight into the controversy and the reasons for it. What I want to explain first is lüften there are 2 different types.
Oh my God.
One for summer, one for winter. One for when you're heating and
now we're getting very technical.
One for when it's hot. Yes, because it's an important difference. If it's cold and you're heating, you want to preserve the heat inside.
Yes.
But also you want fresh air. That's why you open all the windows and then you get fresh air in within 5 or 10 minutes and then you close them again. The walls stay warm and within 5 minutes it's hot again inside. No. Whereas if you just tip the window open, which is another topic that we can tip the windows.
Yes.
So if you tip the window open, it will just cool down, but it will not get really fresh air and it will cool down specifically the walls. So the flat will get cold and you lose a lot of heating power and you don't have fresh air. That's why you do lüfting several times a day if you stay at home, or if you don't, like once or twice a day. And you do it for 5 or 10 minutes so you don't lose the heat in the walls, and you still have the fresh air. Whereas in summer, when it's hot outside, it's the opposite. So you want to let the cold air in.
Yes.
And then you want to close. So that's why you do the lüfting in the morning as early as possible when it's still cold outside. It's still below, the temperature is lower than the temperature inside. So you open everywhere, cool down as long as you can. Then you shut everything. You shut the shutters. You shut absolutely everything. And then you go to work and you come home and your flat is still hot.
It should be cold though. Yeah, that's funny. I forgot about the summer lüfting because that's a real controversy.
Is it though? But there's only one way to do it.
Yes, Simon, you say that. But are we moving on to lüfting in the workplace yet? Because that's when it gets tricky.
let's just dive right in.
Okay, so I cast my mind back to last summer. It was very hot for approximately 3 days. And we are working in a building where the aircon is not like extremely cold. If you're listening from the US, you're probably like, why are they opening their windows? Because we don't really have aircon. They say we do, but you wouldn't know it.
Yes, pre-climate change, it wasn't that hot in Switzerland.
Yeah,
that's just how it was. And now it's more and more hot.
So
another topic you could make a whole podcast about. Anyway.
So on one of these hot days, if I get to the office, then, I don't like being overheated in the summer.
Nobody does.
I am British. So then I would go around the office if I, could be bothered, basically, and then open the windows so we could try and cool it down a bit. And then, close them. But then, we haven't got an agreed lüfting policy situation in our office, have we?
No.
So people are doing all sorts of different things. So then people are tipping the window throughout the day, and then it's just getting, mega hot inside.
It's difficult.
But then what to do? You look like a complete crazy person if you were like, going around shutting all the windows. People are like, why are you closing the window?
Basically, the system is exactly the same as at home. Lüft as long as the temperature is below the temperature inside, and then close everything. But obviously, if it's in a big building, many people live or work there, then it's harder to coordinate. That's what I would call it.
You would need like a lüfting coordinator to go around with a clipboard and be like, right, foghorn, now it's time to open, now it's time to close. Nobody's allowed to open. You can't take on that role because then people hate you.
No, you should have a megaphone.
Yes, you'd need both, the foghorn and the megahorn.
The Swiss siren.
Open, close. Ooh, that made a weird noise.
Time to close.
Yeah, exactly. So it's tricky.
Yes, it's tricky. But that's basically all there is to say. If you exactly want to know how to do it, follow the link of the Federal Office of Lüfting.
If you've got nothing better to do, then go check out that link.
Absolutely. And there's another thing worth mentioning.
Yes.
It's in winter. The lüfting is also for the reason not only to have a good air quality, but also the humidity.
Right. Now we're getting into the real nitty-gritty.
Yes, because there are, based on the Federation of Health thing, they said it must be between 30 and 50% the humidity.
Yes.
The problem is if it's too high, you will get mold on the walls.
Yeah. Not a laughing matter.
Absolutely not. And because our houses are quite well insulated sometimes, but on some places, maybe the wall gets cold. And if the humidity is slightly too high for too long time period, it can get moldy.
Yep.
And you potentially get trouble with your landlady or landlord. And they will say, if you have mold in your rooms, they'll say, well, you didn't do the lüfting properly.
Yep. And then you get into this he said, she said business and whoa.
Yes. Usually it's not a huge deal, but
could be.
Based on contracts, you are obliged to do the lüfting.
Yep. Crazy, huh?
There you go.
Yeah. And these tipping windows, huh? That's a surprise. The first time you open, you're like, whoa, what happened?
I don't know. I can't remember. I was 3 when I did, so. Just our daughter just did the other day with the balcony door.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you have it sort of open and you tip it at the same time, it's suddenly only hanging on by one corner.
Yeah.
That happened to me when I first moved here. I thought, what the hell?
It's probably not. If you don't know, if you don't live in Switzerland, you have no clue what you're talking about.
That was so
funny.
But
basically, if you tip it, the lower bit stays and the top bit moves out.
Yeah.
And if you close it again and then open the window normally, then it opens normally. But if you open normally, but then move the handle to the tipping bit,
upright.
then it's only on one corner still
hanging
attached.
on.
And then
Panic.
it's like, ooh.
Panic mode, wobble.
All good.
Boy.
We all survived.
There's so many random things about this country.
Let's move on to Swiss bytes. Interesting statistic as well from the Bundesamt. The Bundesamt, what's the Federal Office of Statistics?
Oh, nice. They've got loads of stats.
Yeah, it's a new stat came out, well, relatively new, which looked at which language are you talking at work?
Mm-hmm.
They asked everyone, not everyone, they asked people older than 18, I think, or 15 even.
Really?
Yes, they asked
apprentices.
People, older than 15. And increasingly, English is spoken at work. Most popular language is Swiss German with something like 60%. And then we have High German, second place. Also interesting. So Swiss German, then High German, second place.
Yeah, fair enough. I can see why.
And then it's French with something like 25%. And then it's English with something like 22%. I can't exactly say the number because I only took a screenshot of the graph. So we'll put the graph in the show notes and the link. So if you want to study it, feel free. Italian below 10%, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Romansh, not sure if it's on there.
Oh gosh, that'll be a controversy if it's not.
It is roughly at 1%. I'd say. Maybe
that's so small.
It is.
Wow.
Anyway, good news for English speakers.
Yeah, very good news for English speakers.
Now,
if you like being in the limelight, I must say.
In the what?
In the limelight. That means, like at
the lemon light, in the yellow light,
at the center. Under focus, like in the spotlight.
Why lime?
I don't know. Something to do with the theatre, I guess.
Lime like lemon, but lime.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know exactly why. I'm sure it's some kind of like theatrical term. Anyway, the point is, if you're the only native English speaker at the office, suddenly you are in high demand if everyone is talking English for some reason. That can be either great or like ever so slightly embarrassing.
Also, this statistic could be misleading. It's maybe not more people speaking English. It's just at every office is one person, so everyone has to speak.
Shut up. That's not true.
Right. Let's move on to learning Swiss German with Swiss and Chips. Today is a very must-known word. Dürzug.
Say it again.
Dürzug.
It's your Swiss German pronunciation.
How would be?
I don't know.
Well, in English it would be Dürzug.
Dürzug.
Dürzug, yeah.
I feel like I had this in my head. Now let me think about it.
In combination with the topic of today.
Yes, I know. So technically it's a through train. That's a literal translation, isn't it? I think it's like a straight through wind.
Yes, you can.
I don't know what the word is for that in English.
You can make Dürzug, which means if you open the window on this end and the other end, and then the wind passes through.
Straight through.
This is the ideal, satisfactory lüfting situation.
Man, but what's the English word for that?
Pass through?
No, you don't know.
Airflow?
Oh, no.
Airstream?
Airstream was the one I mentioned earlier, but that's really just something from an aeroplane, isn't it? A through wind.
Through wind?
I think.
She's looking it up.
Should I check that?
Yes, you should. Otherwise, it's embarrassing.
A through wind.
Through wind, yeah. Dürzug.
I'm looking. Hang on.
It's the best thing that can happen because if you are lüfting and you open all windows in winter, for example, then you can open the windows instead for 10 minutes where it's only slowly exchanging the air. It exchanges the air within a few minutes or seconds even. And in summer, it's the same thing. It's nothing more satisfying if the house or the flat is mega hot and you get up and you open all the windows and it gets a Dürzug and it cools down the whole thing instantly. That's just extremely great. Hence, Dürzug is a must-known word.
Yes, a must-know word. Through wind doesn't seem to be an actual term, but it sounds right to me. Anyhow, the dictionary says it would be a draft. This is absolutely not right.
It's a mega draft. It is a draft.
A draft is like air creeping in.
Okay.
Not,
strong
blowing
draft.
through in a nice way directly.
It's a strong draft.
Ventilation. Wow, these are not good words. I'm sure there's such a thing as a through wind.
Well, someone who is listening to this will know the word. Please send it to us. Either leave it in the comments or send an email to hello@swissandchips.com.
It also says that rim hole is it's a translation, but I don't think that's right.
Right. What is rim hole?
A Dürzug, apparently.
Okay. Let's move on to the listener poll.
Yes.
And today we want to know, who are you as a person?
Oh.
The lüft and fresh air person, or the keep the windows shut and nice and warm?
Cozy person.
Yes. Should we also add, are you the tipping person?
Oh, yeah. Are you the tipping person?
Yes.
Okay.
So the three persons, the three people, to lüft, to cozy, or to tip.
Okay, great. Is there a psychological test where you can identify which one you are? No, you will know.
You will know. You will know. All right, that was it for today. Don't forget to head over to our website, which is called swissandchips.com, and vote. And also send us your questions, feedback, or ideas or topics you want us to talk about. Right at hello@swissandchips.com. And that was it, I think.
Yes, thanks for listening.
Just out of nowhere. Bye.
Bye.